Welcome to Well Coached, the podcast where we talk about how people, sales, profit, and self come together to grow a business that actually works. I'm Chris Weinberg. I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs into their highest productivity zone by helping them get just corporate enough to lead with clarity, build with purpose, and scale with confidence. Let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome back to the Well Coached podcast. I'm Chris Weinberg, your host. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up with my clients all the time, especially entrepreneurs, creatives, founders, and fast-growing businesses. The topic is this: the corporate enough leader, professionalism without pretension. When a business starts, it's usually fueled by passion, creativity, hustle, and relationships. But as that business grows, it's got to evolve. Processes start to matter, structure starts to matter, accountability starts to matter, but there's tension. A lot of founders are afraid that if they become too corporate, they'll lose that magic that made their business special in the first place. So the goal is not to become corporate. The goal is to become corporate enough. Corporate enough means professionalism without being stiff, structured without being bureaucratic, disciplined without losing creativity. And today I want to walk through what that looks like through our four lenses here at Well Coached: people, sales, profit, and self. Let's start with people, because leadership always starts there. One thing we say around here is people are our most dynamic resource. One of the first places businesses struggle with professionalism is how they manage people. In early stage companies, everything is informal. Job descriptions are fuzzy. Expectations are implied instead of stated. Feedback happens randomly, if it happens at all. And everyone says something like, "Hey, we're a family here." Now, I had a client a few years ago who proudly told me exactly that. "Chris, we're like a family here." And I love the heart behind that. But during a team conversation, another employee quietly pulls me aside and said something really interesting. They said, "Hey, I love working here, but I never know if I'm winning or losing." No job description, no KPIs, no clear expectations. Everybody liked each other on the good days, but nobody knew what success really looked like. So we went about trying to fix it. We did something simple. We wrote down clear roles and responsibilities for every position. And guess what happened? Morale improved, not because the company became more corporate, but because the company became more fair. Corporate enough leadership says, "Hey, I care about you as a person, and I care about excellence in your role." Structure doesn't kill culture. It protects culture. Organizations with well-intent slogans or sayings that, "Hey, we're a family," that's so limiting. First of all, you're not family unless you literally are hiring your brother, sister, spouse, that kind of thing. You're a business. That doesn't mean we don't love each other. Doesn't mean we don't care about each other. But we're aligned because we have a business values and we have clear direction of what winning looks like inside of the business. We can still love each other. Let's go to the sales part. Let's talk about sales for a minute, because professionalism shows up here too. In many founder-led companies, sales starts as pure instinct, relationships, networking, word of mouth, building a great reputation, and all of that matters, and all of that is wonderful. But eventually, that stops scaling. I had a client who was an incredible salesperson. He could walk into a room, close deals almost immediately, but there was a problem. He was the only one who could do it. All the revenue flowed through him. So I asked him a simple question. "Hey, if you got sick for 3 months, what would happen to sales?" Crickets. Because the business did not have a sales system. It had a sales personality. It was a big personality. So we put in a few simple processes: a CRM, a defined sales process, weekly pipeline meetings, a follow-up cadence. At first, he hated it. He told me, "Chris, this feels way too corporate." Fast forward 6 months, he said something completely different. "This isn't corporate. This is freeing, because now the business can sell without him. Corporate enough leadership keeps the authenticity, but it adds process that scales. Moving on to the profit section. Let's talk about the area where corporate enough leadership is often needed the most: profit. Entrepreneurs are visionaries, they're builders, they're creators, but many founders run their business without truly understanding the financial engine underneath it. One client proudly told me one day, "Chris, we're doing $4 million a year." And I said, "That's great. What's your net income?" He didn't know. Not roughly, not approximately, not even close. And that's incredibly common. Entrepreneurs always know their revenue number, but they don't always know their profit model. Oftentimes, especially early stage, we're just wondering, is there cash in the bank or is there not? And that's how we're measuring our success. So we started reviewing the financials every single month. Within a few months, we discovered something surprising. Our service line that looked impressive on paper was actually losing money, and one smaller offering was generating most of the profit. Once we saw that clearly, we shifted the energy. Revenue went up. Profit went way up. Corporate leadership means you don't run your business on vibes. You run it on visibility. Numbers aren't restrictive. They're clarifying. You may have heard me say or recite the author Harold Janine at one point, who often talks about the drudgery of the numbers will set you free. And as entrepreneurs, we rarely get into business to go, "I can't wait to watch my profit every day." We're out there on the hustle, building things. But staring at the numbers and understanding them will help unlock new ideas, new strategy, take anxiety away. Pay attention to the numbers. At the end of the day, you got to have profit or win the lottery to keep you going. I wish I could win the lottery. The fourth one we'll talk about is self. Let's talk about self as our final pillar here. Leadership maturity always starts inside the leader. I worked with a founder who had built an amazing company, high energy, big vision. People loved working for her. But the business hit about 25 employees and things got messy. Decisions became chaotic. Teams were confused. Departments were stepping all over each other. And during one of our coaching conversations, she said something really honest. "Chris, the business has grown, but I'm not sure I've grown as a leader." And that's a powerful moment. Talk about self-awareness. Every growing company eventually asks this question of the founder: can the leader evolve as fast as the company can evolve? So we started doing some uncomfortable things, listening more, delegating more. Man, delegating is so hard for founders. They got successful because of their own grit and their own muscle and their own direct contact with the client or making the widget themselves. But you can't scale that way. You can be a great solopreneur or have a small team, but delegation skill is a real skill, knowing when to do it and having the courage to do it. That's a learned event. She also started asking for feedback. Even that's tough. When you've got the look of the leader and you're out there banging and doing your thing, especially early on, it's hard to be interested in other people's opinion. But we go by a thing here called wisdom is in the group, Ken Blanchard. All of us are smarter than one of us, Ken Blanchard. Allow your team members to be emotionally and intellectually interested in what you're up to. Ask their opinion. You will learn things. After 6 months, she said something to me. As we've been doing these things, the business didn't just need better systems. It needed a better version of me. That's a self-pillar. That starts getting into EQ, self-regulation, self-awareness. Corporate enough leadership starts inside the leader, not in the org chart. So, if you're building a company, here's the takeaway. You don't have to choose between creative culture and professional structure. You don't have to choose between relationships and accountability. The goal is to become corporate enough, structured enough to scale, professional enough to attract great people, disciplined enough to be profitable, but still human enough to be inspiring. Every business eventually hits the moment where passion alone isn't enough. And the leaders who succeed are the ones who are willing to evolve. Not corporate enough. And as always here at Well Coached, remember, great businesses are built when we focus on the 4 pillars of people, sales, profit, and self. Thanks a ton for listening to the Well Coached podcast, and until next time, stay well coached. That's it for today. Thanks for being here. I hope something in this conversation sparked a new idea or gave you a little clarity. We'll be back next week to keep digging into what it means to lead well, grow smart, and build something that lasts. Until then, stay well coached.